Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said he will be waiting for Russian leader Vladimir Putin in Turkey for face-to-face talks on the war between their countries. The Kremlin hasn't yet said if Putin will attend tomorrow's talks, but speaking in Kyiv yesterday, Zelenskyy warned he expects the US and Europe to impose additional sanctions on Russia if Putin doesn't show up. The planned talks come amid a push by the Trump administration to bring the war in Ukraine to an end. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is also set to travel to Turkey. For more on this, I want to bring in Nina Khrushcheva. She is a professor of international affairs at the New School and is joining us now from New York City. Good morning to you. Help us understand this offer from Zelenskyy to have Putin meet with him. Do we get the sense that he believed Putin would accept, or is this more about posturing and making it clear that Ukraine is open to talks?
Well, it's certainly posturing. I don't think anybody would expect that Putin attends these talks. And for Vladimir Zelenskyy, it was inviting because, you know, Vladimir Zelenskyy is a man of a show business. He was an actor before. So for him, it was this kind of let's have a duel in front of everybody in the world, and kind of absolutely expecting that Vladimir Putin is not going to accept that, because Vladimir Putin is not an open player in any way. He performs for the public only when he thinks he is winning or he wants to make a certain point. So it was basically for Vladimir Putin to say no. And it's interesting that Russia has not said no yet, although we hear that it's probably a no, but not a formal no yet. So Vladimir Putin says no, doesn't come to Istanbul, and then Vladimir Zelenskyy and the European partners would say, well, there's no potential to deal with Putin, so sanctions, and we'll continue the war, which is what I think what Vladimir Zelenskyy and European Union and European members of NATO really want to do, is to continue that, because all of this back and forth is not about a peace process. It's all about PR for each side of this relationship.
And Nina, it's so interesting you emphasize the PR angle of all of this, because we were just looking at footage from last week when Putin had that kind of, I guess you could call it, self-imposed ceasefire with Ukraine so that they could commemorate those events in Moscow. So what then if Putin refuses to meet? Would Zelenskyy also want beyond sanctions, because the war continues to rage on and people in Ukraine are dying?
No, the war continues to rage on and sanctions will be imposed. And the Russians say they're ready for it. I think every time it gets a little worse. But that kind of dream that Russia is going to collapse tomorrow because sanctions are imposed has not happened, is not going to happen soon enough. And so it is basically, as I said, it is a PR for each side, as it kind of, we are the best peacemakers, but none of these conversations actually is about peace. I think the only person in this relationship, in this four tango dance, which is Ukraine, Europe, Russia, and United States, is Donald Trump, because Donald Trump really wants to end this conflict. As a business person, as a person who wants golf courses in Russia and Ukraine, as somebody who wants money out of any of this relationship, and a Nobel Peace Prize, which already has been offered and mentioned a few times. But other three sides of this conflict really are not ready to have peace. Putin is doing reasonably well on the battlefield. Ukraine is doing really badly on the battlefield, so it cannot admit it. And for Europe, having all the high stakes, how Russia is going to be defeated tomorrow, been an argument for 2 years at least, hasn't happened. So all the three parts are not ready to have an actual peace talks, except for showing off who is the best peacemaker.
Well, it's great to have you on this, giving us a bit of a reality check on what each side really wants and can deliver. Nina Khrushcheva, we appreciate your time today.
Thank you.